Well, hello and welcome to the Driftwood Boat Blog. I think it's about time we gave you a look around Driftwood, so come on and we'll give you a little tour.
Welcome aboard.
I hope you have it clean.
So do I.
That's Driftwood there in the middle, and that's Mar standing up on the deck. Now, Driftwood is a steel boat. She was built in the early 1980s by a company called Drettmann in Germany. I'm not exactly sure where in Germany, but I have a feeling it's somewhere in the north of Germany. She's a 6-berth boat, meaning that she will sleep up to 6 people, although I'm told you can sleep more if they've had enough to drink. The radar mast is folded down there now at the moment, and we often drop it down just to fit under bridges and the likes, but it looks a lot better when the mast is up. Coming round to the rear of the boat, and we've a pair of davits here and a small rib. There's also a safety ladder to help you get out of the water, should you go in either willingly or accidentally. I think when anybody is buying a boat, there's a certain short list of things that a boat must have for their own requirements, and one of the things that we wanted was wide decks and good solid handrails. And Marion is quite nervous on the boat, so she wanted one that she felt she could walk around in a decent bit of comfort. I know what most of these styles are for and what most of those buttons do. So starting up at the bow of the boat, we've 2 cleats on either side, and then in the centre is the windlass. And straight away you'll notice that this is a manual windlass, it's not an electric one. If you're prone to dropping the anchor on a regular basis, I would so definitely recommend that you get an electric one. Cranking that anchor up and down is certainly not my idea of fun.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Well, welcome aboard. And we're going to start up in the front here. I wonder if I can get in here. Up, this is the V-berth. It's 2 single beds, which are good size. And up the front here we have the locker for the anchor. And that's where the chain is kept in there. And down here, if I can stand back, is a press where the battery for the
bow thruster.
bow thruster is, and we keep the holes for the water to fill up our water. We have storage here. Ooh, junk.
Full of rubbish.
And we have storage. Harry's man
Oh, close
press.
that quick. Close that. That's
Man's press.
really, really full of rubbish.
Also here we have radiator.
Radiator
we
central
have
heating.
diesel central heating. We have an escape hatch here, which if you're size 8, get out. And then we have the usual safety, the fire extinguisher, and that's this berth here. And then out here we have the galley. I have 2 ring hob here, and underneath it we have covered with glasses and pots and pans. And then we have an oven, and then I have some cupboards here for cups and plates and all this that stuff. I have a cutlery drawer here, and then here I have a gas boiler.
Gas geyser, isn't it? Yeah.
Gas geyser, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have 2 LED lights here. If I put them on, you can. And here we have the seating area, which goes into a double bed. It's a fine sized double bed. And underneath that, then here we have our fridge. You can see there's wine in there. We're only here for the weekend. And then under here, I have another big drawer that's full of tea towels and
More rubbish. Close it quickly.
And on this side here, we have a big pantry. I'm going to stand up here. You might see, can you see in? And that's where all our food stuff is kept.
And under the floor here we have the 2 engines. These are 2 Ford Dover diesel engines, and they power 2 shafts. She's a shaft driven boat as opposed to having an outdrive. Between the 2 engines they produce a total of 250 horsepower. We're just looking forwards now from the aft of the boat.
So that gives you an idea of the inside of it there. You can see there's a radar. It's a very old and dated radar. There's another depth sounder up there as well over the interior steering position, which is also a very old and dated depth sounder. To be honest with you, we never ever use the internal steering. We always steer from outside.
As we said, that we wanted a more social space like we compromised by having a small back cabin. Here.
Yep.
We compromised by having a small back cabin, but we had the social space.
That's it.
And that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
And as you can see, looking down, you have your lounge area up here, and you have your dining area down the back.
That's it. You've plenty space there, really and truly.
And then the back cabin is down that way.
Yeah. I'll have to go out here a second. So there we are. Look at that. Looks very well.
This is our seating area, our socialising area. If we're having
Little soirees,
soiree.
Pet, isn't it? Yeah, but you can see that there's, if needs be, then you can always see more people in here in the galley area, and to be honest with you, it's more comfortable with just two.
On Patrick's Day a couple of years ago, we had 18 people on board for some drinks and some canapes. We were in France at the time, and 18 people, they were everywhere. They were like five.
There was, yeah.
We fed everybody, and everybody
They were
had a drink, and we
like
had
ants. With the door open there, guys, just in case you're wondering why everything is kind of blown around. There's no good reason why I have the door open, because it's January and it's cold. But there you go.
And down here we have the vestibule. They have a little shelf here, little girly part with little bits and bobs, and then here we have another rad here in this room. This is our cabin. We have lovely radiator here. We have a wardrobe. And if I stand over here, we have a bed.
Everything on the boat is a compromise. So what we've compromised with here is that we have a very small cabin. It's got floor space, kind of equivalent to what you would find in a phone box. And but we have a large social area as a result. Because it's, how long? It's about 10.5 metres. I think that's around 33 feet. So it's not big. It's not a big, huge boat.
No,
You know? So it's to try and get the best value you can out of those 33 feet of boat. Underneath the bed, there's a storage area there. Again, it's just more tools and bits of stuff, and the holding tank lives in there. In underneath here, there's access to a weed hatch. Okay, so this is the bathroom or the head, and Mara is standing in the shower. Show us the shower unit there, Mara. There you go. Did water actually come out of that? Yeah. Serves you right. So you can't see it, but the loo itself is just to this side of the sink. It's a full-size sink, and it's nice and comfortable. But it's a grand big shower, which is an essential on a boat. So that's Driftwood. It's not a terribly big boat. So it was built in 1981 by a company called Drettmann. They're a German company, and it was one of the first boats built by Drettmann, as far as I'm aware. It's called the Drettmann DD Yacht 10.5. The 10.5 obviously being because it's 10.5 metres long. And as far as I know, this was one of the first boats built by them. And when you go onto their website now, they just build these massive, big, super yachts and fantastic looking things. So
someday they might come back looking for one of their first boats.
Or else they might look back at the first boats and go, oh, cringe. I don't know.
I think it's a very comfortable boat.
Yeah, she's grand.
We actually lived in it in France for...
Yeah, we lived in it for 18 months. And it was good. Yeah. It was grand and comfortable for two of us as well.
Yeah.
And
now, in saying that, we had visitors as well. We had your parents over, your brothers and sisters over.
Des and Anne came over, and I was saying that there's two Ford Dover 6-cylinder engines. They're 125 horsepower each. Sounds huge. It sounds really powerful and really fast. Believe it or not, this boat will only do 7, maybe 8 knots on a good day. It's because boats are built with what they call a hull speed. It doesn't matter how much horsepower you put behind it, it'll still only travel at that certain speed, and it won't go any faster. And while it has lots of torque and it's grand and manoeuvrable with the two engines, it's not a fast boat by any stretch of the imagination. It's also 12.5 tons, so she's quite heavy, and that's not including the wine or the beer. So it's probably
the weight of us.
It's heavier again. it might be close. It might be touching 13 tons.
But look at we're happy.
Well, we have our 10 years in March.
She's our baby.
Do you remember what date did we buy it in March?
We
have video of the day we bought it.
In March.
I don't know what date.
Around the 9th, 10th of March.
Right.
Because our first weekend on it was Patrick's weekend.
If we knew what date it was, we could have a little 10-year-old birthday party.
Yeah, I know the first
10 years
our first weekend out on it was Patrick's weekend.
That's right.
Yeah.
We bought it on Loughree, and the weather was foul, and the first trip we did it was myself, my dad took it out into the lake, and Lochree's not a great spot in rough weather, but it was fine. It bet through the waves without a bother, and we reckon it was a good test at the time.
And Harry's mum and I met them then in Lanesborough.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent our first night on it in Lanesborough, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then Harry's brother and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
Aidan and Sue, they came for breakfast on the Saturday morning. It was on Friday we collected it, and on Saturday morning they came for breakfast.
Right.
And they didn't go home for 2 days. Neither of us did.
We'll let it have over, so you don't have to listen to that.
And I get out because I'm standing there like.
Okay. Right.
Don't show that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the round subscribe button. It's at the top right hand corner of your screen, and tick the notification bell. That way YouTube will send you notification as soon as our next video is out. Cheerio!